Hello friends, my name is JavaScript Crash. You're watching I Think Technologies. This is a React.js master crash course for beginners, and after watching this particular video you'll be hyper confident in JavaScript. Basically all the basic stuff. Okay, we'll be developing about I think 2-3 projects in this particular video so that you can be very clear about how the concepts are working. So let's get started actually, and let's start by making a folder. Yes. Okay, let's start by making a folder, and you can you can create a folder by simply we can right click it, new folder, and we can name our folder. So let's say JavaScript learn. Okay, and that's the name of the folder which we have created. Now let's simply open it, and let's now open it in Visual Studio Code. So we can open this particular thing in terminal basically, and after opening this in terminal, what we'll do is we'll say code and dot enter. So that will actually open this particular folder in Visual Studio Code. If you are like not comfortable, very much comfortable in opening by terminal, what you can do is you can go to file, then open folder, and you can select the folder which you want to use for the development. Okay, that's great. Now before doing anything, I would like you to install one of the extension which will help you during this journey a lot. So basically I want you to install live SAS compiler in your Visual Studio Code. Basically you can use any code editor, but I would recommend you to use Visual Studio Code if you want to follow along. By the way, the concept is same in every environment, so that does not matter. Basically this, so that you can see in real time, whenever you make changes in your code, it will be reflected in the web page which you want to see, which you are building basically. Okay, so let's start by making an HTML file. So you can make an HTML file by index.html, and that will create a HTML file. Now we'll press exclamation mark. That will bring all the basic markup. So and hit enter, so that will bring all the basic markup. You can see, let me increase the size a bit so that you can see actually what's going on. Okay, so you can see this here, you can see all the HTML basic markup. Okay, so let's name it JavaScript. Okay, and now basically there are two ways to write JavaScript in an HTML code. So basically, first of all, let's start this, and to start this, after installing the extension live compiler, you have to right click this particular file. Okay, and you have to go to open with live server. That will actually open this with live server in your particular browser. Okay, my in your case it will automatically open. So in my case, actually my Mozilla Firefox is crashing, so I'll manually start it into in Chrome. In your case it will start without you going and typing the URL. We'll be using Chrome for development of this particular for everything which we are doing in this particular. So on localhost port number 5500, you can see our page has been loaded. The title is JavaScript, as we have mentioned. So let's now do one thing. We can simply place this output, this window in one side and this particular code window on the other side, basically like this. And now you can hide this sidebar using Control B. So you can press Control B, and you can hide and show this sidebar. So that's something great. So I was talking about the two ways in which you can include JavaScript in your code. The first way is to simply use the script tag. So script tag, and then you can write anything. Let's say I'll write alert and hi. So basically what this will do is this hi function actually alerts you something like this, you can see. So that is how that works. So you can see the script function is working within, we can write JavaScript within our HTML code, but this is not something which is highly preferred. So let's do something which is much more convenient. So let's place our JavaScript code separate from the HTML code. So you can do this by simply creating any JavaScript file that is with the extension .js. So script .js. So you can name it anything. Okay, you can see all the changes which you are doing is reflected in real time. So we'll remove this script which is there inside our HTML file, and we'll say we'll say script and then src as an attribute, and you have to pass the address of the JavaScript file, so basically which is this one. And let's close this one. So basically you can see this, that this JavaScript file, this is not like, this is how you include some other JavaScript files. So let's click OK. Okay, and this is your JavaScript file. So if I now write alert over here, sorry, alert over here, and say hi and save this, you can see this is also executed same as before, because this is our web page is using this as a JavaScript file now. So that's how separate out your JavaScript codes from the HTML code. After this, one more thing, we don't use alert for showing anything. So if we write hi, what this does is this breaks the flow of the statement, and this also halts the web page from executing any other code. So basically this is not a very good idea for debugging purpose and for checking what you're executing. So what we'll be doing is we'll be using something called console.log .log and whatever. Let's say we want to log test. So you can't see anything over here because we want to bring this up. This is called, you can see this test in the terminal. So now how I brought this up is simply by clicking a command called Control Shift and I, and you'll get this. Okay, and if you are you can do one more thing. You can go to this menu thing, and you can go to this, where's that, more tools, and then developer tools. So that will also do the same thing and bring up this console to you. After that, let's if I change this to something like root, okay, to something like root, and save this, you can see root, and that's how it is. Now we'll be talking about variable declaration in JavaScript. So how do you declare a variable in JavaScript? So that's very simple. There are three basic keywords. The first is called let, the other one is called const, and the third one is called var. So these three things are used to declare a variable in JavaScript. Now how do you do it? Basically, let's start with var. Okay, let's start with var. Basically, var is very less recommended to use. And most of the time we use let and const in modern JavaScript. Var is very less encouraged to use, and the reason behind this is var is actually globally scoped. What do I mean by globally scoped? Let me show you. So if you know a little bit about programming, you may understand that I'm writing just a loop. So if you are unable to get what it is, that's okay, that's totally fine. Just I want to show you one thing. So let's say var I is equal to, I wrote a very good sort of a loop. Okay, so I less than 10, I plus plus. Let's say I wrote a loop and I console logged something. So basically many people get confused, like why we should not use var. So that I want to show. So basically we'll be covering loop in detail, but this is just to show, okay, why var is, what do I mean by globally scoped. So basically globally scoped means that this variable I can be accessed from like within this curly brackets, and also outside this curly bracket. Like we can access this I from anywhere in the code. So basically that is a bad feature. So if you just save this, you'll get 10 times test, that's okay. But if I log I over here, you will be able to get I outside this. You can see we are getting I outside this particular block, this for block. So that's something bad. So you should always avoid using var, and I would encourage you to use let or const. Okay, let or const. Now what is the difference between let and const? So let, it can be used to declare any variable. So let's say I write root. Okay, so basically the data type as JavaScript is a high order programming language, data type of a variable is automatically determined. You do not have to specify it like other programming languages such as Java or C++. It is automatically determined, so you don't have to do anything for the data type. So if you write let a is equal to root, it is of type string. Okay, there is another data type called number. So what do I mean by number? In JavaScript we don't have a concept of float, decimal, and all. that we have number data type. So this number represent every kinds of number, from like float to decimal to everything. And this number represents everything. So if this is like b is equal to 12, this will represent as like uh, you can say decimal integer data type. And if I say like 12.34, it will automatically be a double or float data type. That's great. Now after this, what we want to learn is there's another data type called Boolean. Boolean is basically true and false. So you can write true or you can write false also, like whatever this you want. So I'll go for true. Okay. and and then after this we have one more data type which is called null. Okay. And one, null basically means that this particular variable is empty. Okay, this is not this is empty, and you can change its value later on. So the final data type which I want to talk about is undefined. So these are the various kinds of data types in JavaScript. Okay, so you can see. And let's say you don't know the type of a data, you don't know the data type of a particular variable. You can check it by typing type of and the name of the variable. Let's say a. So basically this will give you the type of that particular variable. So let's console log and check what is the type of variable a. Okay, so if you write that, you can see that the type of variable a is string. So as you can see, string. If I write b, you can see that it is number, and likewise. Okay, so you can check any variables data type by using type of key. That's great. Now let's talk about let. So let helps you to create mutable variables. What do I mean by mutable? Mutable means you can change the value of these variables later on in the program. But if you use const, let's say if I write const a is equal to 23, I'll be not be allowed to write a is equal to 45 in program. So this is not allowed. This is not allowed. Why this is not allowed? Because const is actually a constant and you cannot change it within the program. One more thing, if you don't initialize it instantly where you declare it, you can't also initialize this is also not allowed. Okay, so this will also give you an error, and this is also not allowed. So these are something you need to keep in mind. Now let's go and explore string data type a bit more. So let's declare a string. So let's say a is equal to hello, it's a great day. Sorry, day. Okay, so basically we have a string. Okay, so now this is a string, right? So let's start by, let's say, great day, and the day is, let's say the day is Sunday. Okay, so and you want to say let's say you want to log, this is a situation. Let's say you want to log hello, it's a great day, and no, hello, it's a great day. So you want to print hello, it's a great day and it's Sunday. Okay, so you want to include this and it's whatever the day name is. How will you do it? Basically, in normal sense, you could imagine something like let result be equal to whatever a is plus, and it's a plus day, and you can log this. But basically I forgot to give a space over here, so we'll give a space day and, okay, here also space. Basically you can see hello, it's a great day and it's a Sunday. So basically what you're doing is you are combining these two things, right? But in general apps, sometimes you need to combine many variables into a particular string, and that becomes very really tough. So that there is a very simple solution, and let me take a better example, because I don't like this example a lot. So let's say my name is Jay. Okay, and my age is maybe 20. Okay, and let's say I want to print a statement called my name is Jay and my age is 20, basically the name and age variable. Now how would you do it in modern JavaScript form? Basically this technique is called string concatenation, and let's see how you can do it. So let's say res be the final result variable, and you can use backticks. Now what is backticks? The key, before one, that is the backtick. So you can use that key in order to concatenate a string. So let's see how you can do it. Basically you'll start by hello, I am my name. Okay, so you have to press a dollar sign and then like two curly brackets and the name of the variable. So basically name, and hello, I am the name, and my age age is, and age is whatever, again the same thing, you have to place a dollar sign, two curly brackets, and age. And if you now go and log this rest thing, you'll get this as a result. So this makes your work extremely easier as compared to that previous method which we have learned, because that is like, you have to see the spaces, you have to see, you have to give plus, and that's a lot of mess. So basically I would prefer this string concatenation if you want to include variables in between the strings. Okay, that's something really great. Okay, so let's write something again. Let's take a better example. So this is example in string. Well, this is not a very better example, but still let's take it. I'm really bad at taking examples. So let a, this is an example in string. Okay, and let's say you want to count the number of characters in this particular string. So how do you do it? So simply say log and then a dot length. So that will give you the length. So you can see that the length is 27 including the spaces in the string. Okay, so that will give you the length. Okay, that's something great. Okay, so you can use this in an array. Basically, if you don't know about array, simply wait, we'll be talking about it in a little while. So basically now you can get, for now you can understand this, that any string has a property called length, and that's this length property holds the number of characters in the and in that particular string. Okay, that's something great. Now string also has many built-in functions which are really cool. Okay, and we'll be discussing about some of them, and you can, there are a lot, like more than 30 I think. So you can I'll be putting the link of the Mozilla site, and you can explore one by one each of them in detail. I'll be discussing few of them which are really cool, and I think that is like necessary to learn. So we'll be first talking about split function. Now what is split function? So let's see what is split function. Actually split function splits the string and makes it an array of, like, by splitting it with that. Let's say you want to split by space, so this will make this is as a different words in an array. So let's see how does it work. So let's log, let's say a dot split and split it with space. Okay, so basically what will that do is, you can see this whole string has been broken into, like, with accordingly with this space, right? So that's something cool. Okay, that's something what we can do if you need. Basically there are many other functions, such as you can start with, starts with, that will return you true or false. You can go with two local two local uppercase, two string basically does not require to uppercase. This will like do what, this will convert it to uppercase. So if you go and save, everything will be in uppercase. And similarly you can try to lowercase. Okay, so all these functions are there of string. You can check these. I'll be linking the I'll be giving you the link of all these functions. Let's discuss few more. So let's say index of. Now this function is used to find a particular string, a particular substring within this whole string. So let's say I want to know the index of example. Okay, what is the index of example? It is 10th. So if you go and count from 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10th, so this will be the 10th. From the 10th place this example string has started. So index of returns to the index of a particular, it returns from the where that particular string starts in a particular this particular thing. Okay, so it starts from 10th place, so it returned 10th. So that is what index of means. Basically all the other things is self-explanatory. So if you go last index of, it returns the last index of a string, and like that. Okay, so I think that was helpful, and those were some basic functions of the string basically. Okay, and now we'll be moving towards array. Okay, so now what is array actually? Array is actually a collection of anything in particular, any data type or anything in JavaScript. So let's make an array. So let's say fruits. So let's make an array of fruits and let's call it apple, banana, what else we can have, grapes, um, maybe orange, what else, let's say that's it. So this is actually an array. And one more thing, I would like to tell you that this is not important that you all the things should be in of a particular data type, like all the things should be in string. So you could have an array, something like this. So you could have 1 as first, to a 1.2 second, j third, and basically anything true. So basically you could make an array of multiple data types. This is not necessary that you just have to use one particular data type. Okay, so that's something to be noted. Okay, and now, okay, let's try to print this particular array. So how will you do it? So simply log this out, fruits, fruits, fruits. Basically you can see all the fruits in our array. Okay, that's something great. Basically, this length function is also available in this in an array also. So basically this will return you all the number of elements in our array, fruits array. Okay, now let's say you want to access the elements one by one. Okay, so basically there's one way, you can go for loop and do all sorts of things. So if you do, let's say you don't want to go for loop, so how we can do it? Basically there are many ways. The first way could be like you go to like fruits, okay, dot for each. Okay, for each gives you two things. First of all the value of that particular thing and the index of that particular thing. Okay, so this will give you these two things. So let's say I log the value of this particular thing and the index also of this particular thing. So you can see apple has 0. Apple is the first one, it has 0 as an index. Banana has second one, it has 1 as an index. Grapes is the third one, it has 2 and so on. So basically this same things goes on. Okay, and I think that was clear. Okay, so for each is simply like it will iterate over the string one by one and will give you the index and the value of that particular thing in that particular array. Okay, that's great. That's something great. Now the second function which I would like you to know is map function. Okay, now map function can help you to create a new array. So let's say I want to create a new array. So let's say it result array, and why this notification? I don't want this notification, go away. Okay, so this map function can give you first of all the value, and there's something special about this function, let me tell you, and value, and also you can get the index. So that is also available if you want, and if you don't want, you can remove this index also as you want. So let's say I want to create a new array which has apple, and then like before every before every element of the fruits array I want an hyphen. Okay, so I want to add, basically let's say I want to add my name. So I want to add j-apple, j-banana, j-grapes. So how you can make that? You can map through the fruits array, and you can return basically a new value which will be stored according to the value of the fruits array. So you can use the fruits element, or you can you can avoid it, it's up to you. So let's say I want to use value, whatever value, plus basically j. I was about to use it before, but let's say I want to use this, and now I want to log this result whatever we got. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. So you can see after, like, for each of these things we added j after this value. So basically that's how it works. So map function, you can return a particular, it starts like it goes first for like first element, then like it gives you the value and you can return it, and then it creates a new array with that particular returned value in that particular position. So that's how it works. Okay, So I hope so the map function was clear. Let's discuss one another very very cool function. It's called filter function. Dot filter. Oh, what happened? Fruits. Dot. Okay, so let's remove this. Let's call dot filter, and filter function will actually, it takes, you can get the element and the index. Okay, basically the same thing. You can, you can remove this index as well if you want. So now what you can do is basically this filter functions, you have to return a true or a false in this filter function, and if you return a true, that particular element will be there in the array, and if you return false, that particular element will be removed from the array. So how do you do it? It's pretty simple. What you can do is you can say, like, let's say uh, I only want I let's say I only want the fruits which starts with A. Okay, so I only want fruits which starts with A. So how we can write this? So you can say return, okay, element at 0. So you basically, this is like all the string is also, you can consider it as an array of characters. So you can access any of the characters using this bracket sign. Okay, so element at 0 is equal to A. So if it is equal to A, return true or else false. And let's store this result somewhere. So let's try to let's see one thing. Basically, you can see that this returns, I would like you to understand this, that these functions does not impact the real array. It will return you the value. So let's say I can say let some result, and if you want this array to be directly impacted, you can say you can directly say fruits is equal to, basically that will change this one. Okay, so let's say this and let's save it. You can see, we have successfully filtered our array, and we have only those elements which start with character A, that is apple. Okay, and that's basically how filter function works. So we have discussed how map function work, how filter function works, how for each function works for arrays, and that's great. And let me in general context, let's talk few more things. Let's say, you want to access any element of this particular array. Okay, you want to access some element. How will you do it? So simply, give a bracket, this is like square bracket. Okay, and you simply write the position. So let's say I want this, so this is 0 and 1, so I want 1. And if I save this, you'll, okay, this is something wrong. So I don't have an res array, I have fruits. So basically we'll write fruits, and you can see we got banana as a result. So I think I hope so you're clear with how you can get an element. You can get it by its position. When we'll be talking about loops, we'll be discussing a lot, like a little more on these arrays. So that will be after this. Okay, that's something cool. Now let's move forward, and let's talk like how you can insert a data into this array, and how you can get a data from this array. So let's first talk about how you can insert a data in this particular fruits array. Let's think about some other fruit. Let's say guava. I want to insert guava into this fruits. Now there's like a lot of functions for that. So I can say fruits dot push guava. I hope so the spelling is correct. If it is incorrect, I'm sorry. I'm really bad in spellings. So a log of fruits fruits. I think that's spelling is correct. Okay, so you can see that we have successfully inserted guava, and if you focus, we are inserting this element from the last. So basically you can take it as a definition that push function helps you to push or insert any element in an array from the last. Okay, and basically then there is a function called shift. Okay, and let's do it and see what happens. Okay, so okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's explore one another function of the array. It's called splice function. Now what does the splice function do? Now splice function simply takes, you can remove an element using splice function. So let's say I want to remove from 0th element, I want to remove 1, that is like I want to remove apple. So you can say 0 from 0th element, remove 1 element. So if you save this and save this, you can see that we have successfully removed, we have removed 1 element from the 0th position. I hope so that was clear. Basically we have run splice function. There is an opposite function of splice, it is called slice function. And never get confused in this slice, it's almost same, but it does the opposite. So it will keep that particular element, it will like, you have to give a starting position and end position in the splice function, and it will cut the array from there. So let's say I want to keep it from 1 to like 2. So how we can do it? So you can say I want to keep it from 1 to 2 and save it. Basically you can see that we are printing all the elements of the array, because this you have this gives us a result. So you take result and then you can print this result as an array. So you can see that we have from 1 to, you can say that from 3. So this will basically cut this array from 1 to 3. Okay, so that's something useful. This because this is like after 1 and before 3, if you want to be clear about it. So those were some basic functions of the array. Okay, and one more thing, one more thing I would like you to know. No, I'll tell you in the loop. Okay, so basically the next thing which we'll be doing is loop. Now what is loop? Loop means simply executing the same commands again and again and again up till until some condition is reached. So let's talk about first of all while loop, and then we'll be talking about for loops. So in JavaScript basically we have two kinds of loops. So we have a for loop and a while loop. By the way, this w is small. So for loop and a while loop. Let's discuss about the for loop first. So let's say we have an integer, let's call it 1. Okay, and while loop, actually while loop is extremely simple to understand. You have to give a condition inside this, the parentheses of while loop, and till this condition is true, the while loop will be executing. So let's say till a is less than 10, we want to console log the 10 a, and basically if you'll run this will be an infinite loop, because this condition will never be a false. So how we can make this condition false? By simply increasing the value of a by 1. So you can see we have a loop which prints all the values of a, increasing 1 by 1 till this condition becomes false. So that's how the while loops works. Now let's move ahead and see how for loops work. So you can go to for, go down for, and let I is equals to 0, I less than 10. Now I'll explain you, give me wait for a while, and let's say log I. Okay, so basically this does the same thing, but you can specify the starting point. So this is the starting point. So I want to start it from 0. I want to continue it until the value is I less than 10. So this value until this is true, I want to keep running this, and I want to increase the value by 1. So basically all the three things: initialization, checking the condition, and increasing the value is done in one particular line. So this is among while and for loop, I like for loop more than while loop, because we can specify everything in one particular line. By the way, it totally depends upon you which loop you want to use more. So that's up to you. Okay, that's something good. Now let's move forward and think about, I think we know about both of these loops. Now let's declare an array. Let's say let's say we have an array of numbers, so 12, 34, 22, 78, 34, and you want to access each of the elements of this particular in this particular array. So that's very simple for loop. So let's say I want to start it with index 0, because the first index is 0. So let I is equal to 0, and I want to continue until this last index is reached. So what is the last index? Simply tell me. It is one less than this whole length of this array. So I want to say I want to continue it till I is less than whatever, we haven't named this, so let's name it. That's we haven't wrote the identifier. So a dot length, okay, and a plus plus, okay. So basically that will give us that will loop through like all the index. Now how you can get a particular element at particular index, so you have to simply say that let's log uh, a at I, so but that will basically give you the element. Basically we have written a over here, so we have to write I over here, and that's why it was creating issues. So now it is fine. So you can see that I'm going to increase the value of I, plus 1, so that will increase the value of I every time 1. So you can understand this something like first time 0, is it less than the length? No, it is not. So increase the value of I plus 1, that is, this will become 1, so it will go to the second element. Then again, is it less than this length? No. Likewise, it will go to last, and then you'll check, this will check the value is like more than 1, so it will become false and the loop will stop executing. That's simple. But every time writing these three conditions and stuff, so basically there is an easy way to do this, okay. So you can say that let any variable m of a, so that will do basically the same thing. It will loop through each of the element and will give you the value m. So the m is the value at each position. So you can, if you get, that will generate the same result. So you can use any of these two things as per your convenience, as per your preference, okay. So those were some things about arrays, and I hope so you liked it. Now let's move forward and let's talk about what else. We know about arrays, we know about okay. So basically the next thing which we'll be talking about in this particular session will be uh, will be the object literals. Now what is object literals? Let's talk about it. So object literals is very 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 useful feature of data, useful feature of JavaScript. So let's see how we can do it. So let's say we have a variable called info, and we want to save name as J, age as, let's say I'm 20 year old, uh, what else, like let's say computers which I have is basically an array, and the first computer I have is of Samsung company, the second computer which I have is Lenovo company, then like let's say uh, that's it, okay. Let's say, and you can basically nest it, you can have like a lot more other things also as well. So let's say name is actually an object, so you can specify another object inside this. So you can specify like my first name will is J, and you specify last name is Pathak. So basically you can, and this is what is known as object literals. And object literal is like a data representation, something like this, and it is like similar to JSON if you have seen JSON. So if I go and log this particular data, which is info, you'll see this is represented as something like this, as an object basically. And okay, so basically this, and you can access any property of this object by simply clicking dot and name. So if I say name save, that's name, and basically name has two things, first name, so this is first name, so that will give you the first name. You can access any arrays, similar to what we have talked. So let's say computers I want at 0, so this will, okay, we have forgot to close this. So that will give you the Samsung, similar, this is exactly what we have discussed before. So that's something great. Now let's move forward and let's talk about how you can convert this into something which you can send over network. Okay, so you cannot send this object over network, so you can convert this into JSON. Now how you can do this? Simply use JSON dot stringify and your JavaScript object literal. So once you do that, you can see this whole thing is converted into a string, and that particular string is of format JSON format. Okay, so if you want to send this over any network, you can use this particular function as to stringify to it as a JSON. Okay, after this, let's say you already have this data. So let's say we have this some string, let some string basically, and this will stringify the data which we have right now. So let's say we move forward and we again want the data back from this stringify data. So how will you do it? That's particularly simple. You can write JSON, so this will return the back, so you can say JSON dot parse, and this parse function, you can pass the string in this, and basically this will give back you the the JSON file. So you can see this, we got the same object back as before. So basically these two functions, JSON.stringify and JSON.parse, is highly useful. So that's what it was about object literals. Now we'll be talking about conditional programming in JavaScript. It is like almost like same as other programming, other languages. So how you can do it? It's simple. You have to write if, okay, and give a condition here. So you can give any condition. So let's specify a condition. Let's say let a is equal to 23. So you can say that, let's say I want to print a, if a is less than 23, on log a is less than 23. So basically that will if it is less than 23, it will log. It doesn't log because it is not less than 23 basically. Okay, so if you want to say like, if this is true, then execute this, else in else part, basically you can say what happens if this condition is not met, if this condition is not satisfied, what else we can do. So we want to say that if that condition is not satisfied, that means a is bigger than 23. So you can see that this as this condition not satisfied, so we are printing this. So let's satisfy this condition. Let's see what happens. So basically, as you would accept, you got a is less than 23. So this is how if statement works. Basically, this is not true that you could only have one condition. You can have multiple condition, and basically you can use and. So let's say you have two conditions, so it should be less than 23 and a should be more than 10. Okay, so if both the things are true, so it and more than 10 basically. So this is how you execute it, more than one. So this is like, if this and this both are true, so and is basically both are true, then this particular thing will be executed, otherwise this particular thing will be executed. Let's say or if any one of them are true, this particular part will be executed. So how you can do that? Simply by typing this two things, to sticks things, I don't know what this is called, but stick, you can use this, and this is basically above enter key in most of the keyboard. So if you save this will give you the same result, because both of them has been satisfied. Even if one of them would be satisfied, it would be executing the command. So this is how if else work. Okay, that's something. Wait, so now we know about if else and or everything. One more thing I would like you to know. So let's say we have some condition. Let's say 12 is let's say true. Let's say we have a condition true, and there's something called not. So if you want like not a, what is not a? It's false. Okay, so let's say a is equal to 23. Okay, so when say let a is equal to 23, and you want to say specify a condition that if a is not equal to 13, you want to say it's not equal to 13. So how will you write that? So you can write a is not equal to, like it's not, okay, not equal to, let's say 12, not equal to 12, you'll say log a is not 12. Okay, and why did I write s? I don't know. So you can see that this is how you specify not. Okay, so I hope so the conditional programming was clear. Now there is actually a shorthand. There's a trick to write conditional statement in JavaScript. So what is that trick? And we'll be understanding right now. So the trick is actually you can specify any conditional statement, something like this. So let's say I have a condition. So let's say let a is equal to 23. So and I have a string. So let's say some button color. So okay, so let's say I want to keep the button color as red if a is less than 12, and blue if a is more than 12. So how you can do that? That's simple. So if a is less than 12, okay, then you have to specify a question mark, and if it's true, the first value will be for true. So if we want to be red, if it is less than 10, so less than 12, okay, and if it is false, we want to make it blue. Okay, so if you log this particular thing btn color, save it, you'll see blue, because this is actually called ternary statement basically, and this is like a shorthand for shift for if statement. So that's something you can use a lot in your JavaScript programming. Now we'll be learning about switch statement and how this is used. So let's say we have one, let's say day number. So let's say we want to make a program where if we type 1, it prints Monday. If we have 2, it prints Tuesday, then Thursday and Friday, like that. How we can make this? Okay, that's using switch statement. So let's write a switch keyword, and then you have to specify what do you want to switch upon, what do you want to check the condition upon. So I want to check the condition upon day number, and the first case will be 1. So let's say if the value of day number is 1, what do you want to do? So I want to log basically Monday. So if that is 1, so I want to log Monday. And then this is something which even I forget sometimes. You have to write break. So if you not write break, all other conditions will be also executed. So that's something which you don't want. So like case, if it is 2, we want to log Tuesday. If it is 3, basically let's copy this up. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. We'll be having 7 days. Okay, 2 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, and we can have like a Wednesday, we can have a Thursday, we can have a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. Save this. So you can see 1 for Monday. If I change this, if I change this 3, it will say Wednesday, and basically this is how a switch statement works. Basically, here you can see one more example. If you have like a single statement, you can avoid writing this curly bracket, or you can write this. It's up to you. If you want like a separate section and to look at like it should look better, you can use the curly bracket. It's up to you. It's not something which is compulsory. So this is how switch statement works. I hope so that was clear. Now we'll be looking towards object oriented programming and how that can be done in particular JavaScript code. So basically you can do object oriented programming. Let's start with a functional statement. So it's a function person basically, and we want to create a first person, and we want to set some properties. So this person will have some name, basically we'll receive it from that particular thing, some age. Okay, so this name will be name, and using this keyword you can specify the value. Okay, so the age will be age, and you can create a person. So let's say p1, that is person 1, is equal to new person, and you can specify the properties. So let's say j, and my age is 20 years, and you can log this and see the person 1. Basically you can have like this, you can create a particular object input to JavaScript. Okay, so basically this is ES5. In ES6 we have classes. Okay, and we'll be talking about the classes later on. So let's say you want to have a function. This is really funny. So but let's try to understand functions by this. So you can, let's say you want to have a function in the particular person that you want to get the age 5 years ahead. So this dot get age 5 years later. So if you want to age 5 years later, so you can say, you can return this dot age plus 5. So this will return the age 5 years later. So if you now go and, like, let's say print this thing, there's a problem. See, age is a property of this person, name is the property of this person, but get age 5 years later is not the property of this person, and this is something bad, and we should not do this. So what's the correct way? And if you could go to proto, and this should have, this proto object should have all the functions which this particular object has. So how we can do that? Basically, that's relatively easy. Instead of doing this, let's cut it from here, paste it over here. What should we do is we should say person dot prototype dot something like that, and that will actually, if you see, there's only two properties, that is the actual property of this particular person, and if you go to proto, this has get age 5 years later. So that's how you can do it, but you can see it's too messy, declaring all the functions outside a particular object and initializing this and all. So that's particular hectic, right? So let's go to ES6, which is like much more cooler and much more easier to understand and see. Okay, so let's create the same thing using ES6. So let's say we have a class called person. Okay, and we need to accept the parameters like name and age. So that can be done by constructor. Constructor is the place, like you can specify basically what do you want to make this class. So I want the name and the age, and I want to set the name as a property, and that should be equal to the name given by the user, and the age should also be the age given by the user. Let's say we had get age 5 year later. So this will be the age 5 year later, and this is how you make functions. Basically you have to give parentheses also. So this is how you make that function. You don't have to go like outside the outside this particular thing and create a function. You can specify it over here only. That's how you can do it really easily. You can return this dot age plus 5, and that is like how easy it is. So let's construct a new person. So let's say p1 is equal to person, and name will be J, age will be 20, and log this out, p1. And basically, okay, there's some issue, so we have to use new as an operator if you are using some object. So you can see that we have this here, and the proto object has the function by default. You don't have to specify it otherwise. So that's something good about ES6. Okay, this makes your program much more cleaner and much more understandable and much more convenient for all those people who are coming from other programming language. Okay, so that's something great. Let's say I want to make another person. So that's that is also the same thing. We can specify person2, and we can change the name. Let's say I want to change the name to Amit, and I want to change the age to 23, and basically you can log this particular thing also, log p2, that log the person 2. You can see that. Okay, that's how you create objects, and that's how object-oriented programming works in JavaScript. Now we'll be talking about this is how basic JavaScript works. Now let's talk about a bit about DOM manipulation and how you can manipulate DOM. We'll be going a little like really basic on DOM manipulation because it is a very vast topic, and this is a crash course. Okay, now let's do this. And now let's say DOM manipulation simply means you can control everything which is on your HTML page, which is here, through your JavaScript code. That's what DOM manipulation basically means. You can manipulate the DOM, that is document object model, that is like all the hierarchy of the elements in your particular web page. So let's see some basic examples. You can let's say we have a div, okay, and we can give it specify an ID. So ID is like a name to this. So let's say text, and let's say, you can get this div by using, let's say d is equal to, there's something called document. Okay, so now I would like, there's, if you remember, we were using alert, right? Alert hi, and that was like alerting us. So basically, this alert is actually a property of something called window. So window is like, the top level, in the hierarchy of all the components, window is at the top. Okay, so you can think of this particular window is, this window, and this window has a lot of properties. So if I log this window up, you'll see that this has a lot of properties, and a lot actually, you can see a lot of properties it has. So basically we were using this alert property, and you can access the property of this window directly. You don't have to write window dot and all. So you can see all these properties, local storage, inner height, and all those things are a property of this particular window object. Okay, that's something cool we know now. So basically, you can access all the properties of this window. Inside that window there is another property which is called document. You can see this document. Okay, and this document is actually all the elements inside your web page. So you can fetch this element which is called div, which is id text, with using this document. So let's say, we want to name this d, and we can say document dot get element by id, get element by id, and id, you have to specify the id. So we have given the id as text. So this will be, if we just log this d, you'll see that this is actually the div which we have specified in our HTML code. So now you can do basically anything. So you can say d dot, there's something called inner HTML, and you can say that this should have an h1 inside it, and this should have test. That's totally fine. Okay, let's say, you want some inner text to change. So there's something called inner text, and you can specify test, something like this, and you can save, and you can see that the text inside that div is like how you can change this one. Okay, now that's something cool. So let's make something useful out of it. Let's say you want to make a to-do list. Okay, a simple to-do list, not very fancy, like very simple. You want to make it, and how you can do it. Okay, so let's say, you have a field over here. So basically, we'll have an input field over here. Okay, that will be of type text, and let's give some id also. So let's give it to do and some placeholder also. So placeholder will be, write your to, this is going to be very simple. Write your to do and save it. So basically, you can write, let me bring it, make it bigger. So you can write your to do's, and there will be a submit button over here. Be a button, submit. Let's specify the id as button. Okay, and basically, if you submit this, we want like all the things to be added as a list. Now that could be very easily achieved with the JavaScript. So let's say how you can do it. So let's specify a div, and let's give an id called list. Okay, basically inner text of null. Basically this is null because, we have removed this text element. So that's okay. So let's now get every element from our HTML page. So let's say we want to get the to do. So we can get it by document dot get element by id, and then we simply write the to do. Okay, basically, you can get a lot more other elements as well. So I just want to get, exaggerate on this thing, selecting an element. So you can get the element by the id, you can also get the element by class name. So basically get element by class name, you can see this class name. So you can get an element by class name. Let me make it like a little bit bigger so that you can see. So you can get an element by class name, you can get an element by tag name, and there's something, something very interesting called query selector. Now query selector is very unique. If you want it from an id, okay, if you want it from an id, you can specify like this and specify the id of the thing. So let's say I wanted the for the to do. So I can specify that, and basically, if I console log this to do, basically I'll get the to do which I have created. You can see this particular thing. Okay, this particular thing, we can get it. So that's like very simple. This query selector is something like which you usually use in jQuery. So this can select any query. And that, it is not necessary that only one thing would be selected. Let's say, just for example, you will be making it, of course we'll be making this to-do list, but before that I just want to demonstrate few things. So let's say, we have like multiple h1 with text uh, uh, as their classes. So we have like three h1s. So basically, let's say you want to select all of them. So how will you do it? So like query selector dot period and then the class name, which is text. And if you see, this selects only one, because query selector actually selects only one. So there's another function that is like get elements. As you can see, there's somewhere called elements. Elements. So basically this will select multiple elements at a single time. So you can specify text, and you can see, you get a node list. Node list is a lot more similar like a normal array, and you can get each element by, you can write like at 0, at 1 and all that, and you can get each of the element by a array. So basically let's remove this and let's complete our to-do list now. So let's complete it actually. Okay, so our to do was actually, get element by id, and the id was to do. Okay, and basically we have the other thing as the input ones, the button. Okay, so the button is document, what is that, a document dot get element by id, and that the button. Basically let we want the list. Okay, so document dot get element by id, by name not by id. I know the upper one is also incorrect, so we'll correct this, don't worry. Elements not element, here also we have done a mistake, and here also we have done a mistake, and now I think that's fine. So this will be list. Okay, and now basically we have all the things which we require. And let's say we want to perform an action when this button is clicked. So you can say button dot on click is equal to a function. This is by the way, this is arrow function. If you don't know, you can specify it like this, or if you're not comfortable like this, you can also say function something like this, and this will also be correct. Okay, and basically you can enter event over here. We don't need that, but let's write this. Okay, so basically when you click the submit button, you want this, you want that particular to do to be added. So you can get the value out of that particular to do by writing to do dot value. Okay, that will give you the value of that particular thing. Now what you can do is like you can check that if the value is not equals to like nothing, like it should not be empty. Okay, then only we'll be writing. So you can say list dot inner html plus equal. So this will like write like this will append. Basically, this will not overwrite, this will append. Okay, so you can write this as something like let's say h1. So we can use backticks. There's a very good time to use this. So h1, and we want to, we'll put the value over here. So we'll say val, and if it is not, we want to simply alert, and we'll say write something. Save this, and let's say you write something like that and save it. So you can see this first one is added, then again you can, the third, fourth, fifth, and all those things are added. You can see basically how does this work. Basically I'll just put it down, and basically all the tools basically we'll refresh it, and let's say we write hello, that's added. Wash my car, and that is also added. Read books. You can go like very much advanced like after this. So this is basically how you can manipulate the DOM a bit. Okay, so this is like a very basic idea of how DOM manipulation can be done. Other than that, you can also change styles of elements with with this. So let's say you want that for example, let's say you want whenever this submit button is clicked, this becomes green. Okay, let's go very 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 different. So let's say you want whenever this button is clicked, this becomes green. So you can do that by simply write button dot style. So any any element which you select has a style property, and that you can modify any CSS property with this particular style property. So let's say we want to say that background color, I want that to be green. So okay, so if you go there, if you say test submit, basically that turns it to green, you can see. So you can use it like I'm using it in a very bad way, but you can use it like for doing a lot of more things. You can make like a side navigation bar which shows and hide upon like the hamburger icon whenever I click and all. So this was basically it, and this was like basically a crash course of JavaScript. I hope so you like it. If you like, don't forget to like this video and subscribe the channel. Thank you, have a great day, and may you become very good at JavaScript.